Welcome to Smart Career Planning, Episode 3. In my last two episodes, we talked about career planning and building strategic alliances. And those two things, what do they have in common? Time. It requires a lot of time. So in this episode, I want to talk about productivity tips and time management. Why, you may ask? Think on a weekly basis, there are probably 2 to 3 emails out there that talk about how to save more time, how to be more productive, and then you spend 5 minutes reading it and you realize, oh my goodness, I just wasted 5 minutes of my time. Those are the things I've been doing. Number one, there are a lot of articles out there because we all know there's a need to save more time. Everyone is busy. You may have a full-time job. You may have a family to take care of. You may have personal fitness goals this year you want to achieve. You can't afford to throw things randomly into your calendar and expect you to be able to do it. You may be able to attend an industry event or write an industry related article, and even tomorrow then you can have dinner with someone and that you meet at a networking event the previous day. You may be able to do that in the first 30 days, but you realize on the 31st day or the following month, you realize you are completely burned out. It is extremely unrealistic. So that's why we're talking about productivity and time management. For me, I do have a full-time client where I go on site on a daily basis, work close to 40 hours a week. I'm building 2 businesses. I have a family to take care of, and I have a very time-consuming hobby, which is rock climbing. Not only do I spend 3 nights out of the week for 2 hours each time to train, there are times I go outdoor and climb with my friends, and that's an all-day event. Needless to say, there are times I really need to prioritize and think about what needs to go in my life. So what I'm talking about today, of course, is not just going to be about saving 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It is going to be about a paradigm shift, changing the way you think about how you spend your time. I'm going to talk about 3 ways. First, attaching value to the concept of time. The first, just the easy thing to talk about is emotions. Think about that certain things spark joy in you. Think about, gathering what the events you've attended, things that you've done in the last 30 days. Are there some of the events you've attended or people that you've hung out with, just you feel like at the end it was an utter waste of your time, or that made you feel worse at the end than before you saw that person or attended that event? Can you recall any of those moments? Think about what were they? And why did they make you feel that way? And more importantly, why did you do it? Is it the first time? Was it just an experiment? Or was that something that it happens fairly often? Especially if it's the latter, you may really want to think about why would you say yes to something like that? Was it because you feel bad saying no? How about doing laundry, house cleaning? Do you procrastinate until the very last minute when you're on your last piece of garment, or you have a dinner party and you realize your house is a disaster, and that's when you just drag yourself out to do those things that you just hated doing, and even while you're doing it, you're dragging it out and turn it into an all-day event? Do you see yourself doing all of those things? Do a quick mental calculation, because those are the things that create certain emotions in you. You feel like it's a time suck. So that's one way to think about doing a mental inventory of how you're spending your time. Second, attach a dollar value to your time. For those of you who have an annualized salary, think about how much you actually want to make, not how much you make, but how much you want to make. So say, for example, if you're making $80,000 right now, and you feel like in the next 2 years, you want to build your experience and career to the point where you can make $100,000 a year, think of that figure. Now, you need to divide that by 2080. That's just a magic number for a lot of headhunters to think about someone's desired annualized salary. Now, 100K divided by 2080, it's roughly about $48 an hour, and that's pre-tax, pre-benefits. So that's the amount. If you want to make $100,000, $48 an hour is how much your time is worth. Now, I'm not trying to get into the philosophical, oh, that's how much I am worth. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's like at market rate, that's how much you should think about your 1 hour is worth for you. If you're a consultant, that's even better because you already know how much you're getting paid on an hourly basis. If you're someone a little bit more experienced, I'm assuming you're making 125 an hour. And if that's the case, now this is just a really random example, and this is how I personally attach value to my time. If I'm making 125 an hour and I'm supposed to carve out lunch to meet this person, so that 1 hour I'm already not getting paid. So that's the opportunity cost of going to lunch with this person. And then now what happens if this person is 30 minutes late because this person needs to find parking or whatever happens? Then I do mentally calculate. That means I am spending about $70 already gone waiting for this person, and then I probably want to buy this person lunch, then adding that value to it, and then the transportation, going to the establishment to meet your friend, and then going back to work and start your billable hours again. The entire process is probably an hour and a half. I think about at the end, do I feel like I am okay with spending that much on this person? Or do I feel like, this person is really not worth that much? Or do I feel like the entire experience of being around this person is not worth that much money to me? That can be the same. And I know most people don't like thinking of people in terms of a dollar value. In most cases, you already know how this person makes you feel. And I think having just that dollar value attached to it can validate how you feel about this person. Now, what about laundry? What about house cleaning? If you are living in a place where you do not have if you don't have a washing machine, then you actually have to go somewhere, put the laundry in, sort them out. You need to get the detergent, you have to get change, and then you have to find parking, you have to drive home, and the entire ordeal takes about 3 hours. Again, 125 times 3. Do you feel like that's a good investment of your time? If you're not willing to spend that much money, the opportunity cost of doing the laundry with that to someone else, you may want to give the laundry, like do laundry by pound or whatever. The same with house cleaning. If you hate house cleaning, it takes you 7-8 hours to do that. Would you like to spend those 7 hours cleaning the house and spending again 125 times 7 hours, that much money to do a house cleaning? If not, you may want to pay someone else to do it. The second tip I want to talk about is understand your tendency. Hopefully, by following tip number 1, you will save about 1 to 2 hours on a weekly basis. Now, with the newfound time, what are you going to do? Do you have a tendency to procrastinate? Do you have the tendency to say yes to whomever demands your time? Do you have a tendency to feel alone if there's an empty slots in your schedule? Do you have the tendency to feel more fulfilled when you're surrounded by people, which may explain why every night you have to have something going on? Your tendency is what's sucking your time. So, understanding your tendency is going to help you shut some of those doors, realizing that you have to have every single night full, and you understand why. Hopefully, that's going to help you say no to your urge and say yes to something that's going to benefit you in the long run. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, plan your week in advance. One more thing about understanding your tendency is also to understand what you hate to do but are really, really good for you. Now for me, I hate crowded environments and loud noises, which, makes networking a little bit tricky for me. Naturally, I would like to just stay at home, write articles, record a podcast, just work on my to-do list. And I feel like I'm being very productive, which is true. But I do need to continue sharpen my networking skills and how to work the room so I can have more materials for my podcast. I need to make sure that I set aside time finding out industry events to attend. Bottom line. Now, what are some of the things you hate to do but are really good for you professionally? Schedule them first. Make sure you set aside time to exercise, even connect with your friends. What you end up seeing is, when you do what's really right for you, what's great for you, is that you begin to feel like you're living a very meaningful life, a very productive life, which will in turn make you a much happier person to be around in the long run. And that will help enrich your relationships. And this sort of goes into the cycle of, you're surrounded by great people, you're fun to be around, and you feel like you're living a very meaningful life, and you continue to cut out people who do not live by your standards, do not live by your beliefs, and you cut them out, and it's a very cyclical process. Hopefully you find these 3 tips helpful. And if you have any questions, if you have tips on your own that you really want to share with the audience, feel free to email me at helen@interviewrightconsulting.com. Again, it's helen@interviewrightconsulting.com. Until then, hope you have a great week and capture your success.